Yes, kia ora everybody. Welcome along to the Marc Peard podcast. Of course, we are live on Facebook Live. We're also live on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter. Also, hello if you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcast, Rover, iHeartRadio, basically whānau, we are everywhere. Welcome along to the Marc Peard podcast. I am Marc Anthony Peard. Of course, with me, Blake Ace, Aceford, Ace,
Marc Anthony.
Yeah. Sorry,
Ace,
middle name, mate?
Ace.
You stick with Ace?
Yeah.
Okay. Former Warrior, former Cronulla Shark, former NRL journeyman, and gracing us with his, are those Celtics singlets in the background?
They are, mate.
Well and
Here
treated
to
the
win
playoffs.
the ship this year.
Yep. Nice. And of course, Nate Dog. Oh, right there, Nate. Actually, before we get to you, Nate, and your middle name, Ace, did you have any kind of words of wisdom to share with us as you always do? Make us feel better.
Well, I've just been searching my brain cells, the many that I have, and now that we're in this time of lockdown, I'm trying to teach my kids and teach everyone certain facts they don't know. So there's a certain thing that sperm, we assume that they were swimmers. They are not swimmers. They are spinners. So for everyone that says my swimmers got through, no, they did not. You bowled a leg spin.
Oh, they're more
spin.
like more warny.
Exactly. So you learn something every day. Yep.
Oh.
So you spun it through to the keeper and made a baby. So there you go.
While you're in
lockdown, I'll do my best to teach you something new every day, like I'm teaching my kids.
Blessings, thank you. And of course, Nate, do you have a middle name, Nate? I've never asked.
My middle name is Let's Get It.
Let's get it. We're back in lockdown. Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Why are we excited by that? Give us this day in history, Nate, because the day doesn't feel complete without it.
Oh, you know how if you ever get hold of any of like great grandma's stuff and you read, you go, "What's your diary say?" And it's like you pick it up. She goes, "The bloody steel, it keeps getting stained." Remember that all the time? Well, on this day in 1913. Harry Brearley came up with stainless steel and released it. So good on you. Because, mate, steel getting stained was such a pain in the bum. It was probably one of the worst things. One of the big causes of World War I, which happened later, was the fight over the stainless steel. But there you go. So stainless steel, happy birthday to you.
Did we are obviously not of the generation that there was ever steel that stained, because I've never known a time before or without stainless steel. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know what it got stained with. Was it fingerprints? It might have been rust. Maybe that's it. It's a steel expert out there will know. We've got many experts that watch us. So if you know about steel and the difference between that, and why don't they just build everything out of stainless steel?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Make it all happen.
It's one of my missions. It's gonna be one of my missions to find out and teach the kids. So I'll get back to you with that.
Right,
okay,
tonight
cool.
on the rundown, we will reveal who our winner of last week's fight card was, and Nato will bring another fight card for us to fight in our heads. That's a pretty basic concept. Basically, two fighters. You've got to come up with a winner of that topic, and while we're at it, you can have a suggestion, but you must vote on a winner. We also have from MediaWorks, Leon Wratt, who Tuesday was the announcement that radio. Which radio station? Magic Talk is going.
Yeah, I think it's Magic Talk. Yes.
Playing out free cricket commentary for the Black Caps. So Radio Sport went down. Everyone was like, "Oh God, the cricket, the rugby, all that jazz." So it looks like MediaWorks have stepped into the gap and gone, "Hello, we're going to play out the cricket." So excited to talk to Leon as to where we can find the cricket, why they went after the cricket, and whatever else you'd like to know. Of course, we will be taking all your comments, and we'll be doing it live, so you can ask them whatever you want. And also Karl Te Nana, just down the road. Te Aoteroa Peninsula Zoni, eh? He's going to join the show, talk a bit of Super Rugby with us. But of course, the night never really gets underway unless we do a little weather chat. And of course, Will Miller has started us off. Kia ora, Will. Chilly in Dunners, supposed to be a frost. Yikes.
Oof.
Hashtag weather chat.
Yep.
Hashtag weather chat. What are you going to give us? What is our weather chat for Te Aoteroa, mate? It's a bit mucky.
Oh, our weather chat. It's a little bit muckaty overnight. It was a lovely clear evening, the last couple of evenings. So it's, you got those days where what happens is when Auckland finds out it's going into some sort of level 3 or 4, the sun comes out, which has been nice. So beautiful days, but of course it gets a bit chilly at night. So there you go.
Nice. Ace, there's a couple of questions coming through for you. What are you drinking? Ben Serum wants to know, what are you drinking? Bryce says, that's not Waikato or Waikato, is it, Ace?
Yes, it is.
That's Waikato. Yes, it is, my friend.
Waikato.
Yes, it is. And they go down beautiful. Flame. Oh,
You got flame beer.
I found a box of flame
Beautiful.
beer, and I was like,
Good on you,
This
man.
is what I saw it in the alcohol shop, and I was like, we're back into lockdown. We're back into this painfulness of and everyone's got a rumor. Everyone's got a mate who kind of knows how long it's going to go for. Come tomorrow at 5 o'clock, is it? The announcement's going to be
5:30.
5:30. They're going to announce
Yep.
how long we're going to be in lockdown for and who's in what levels, etc., etc. 27 degrees in Vegas. Mark Stafford, thank you. Looking
Go
sharp,
Stafford.
NATO. Jeff
Love you.
McTarnish? Jeff, sorry.
McTange. Oh, Jeff.
Yes. There we
Good
go.
on, Jeff.
You're looking sharp, bud. So we'll find out exactly how long we're in lockdown for.
have you got predictions?
Yeah,
Any
predictions, because everyone's got a mate.
3 weeks.
I've had a mate that said, it's not looking good. It's not looking good. I've heard it from somebody that we're
I love people who always
gonna...
know someone who lives next
Yeah.
door to someone who's heard you.
Yeah.
Aish, yours please. Aish, yours please. I've set you up
What's
for
your
this
one you've
because we came onto this
Well-
call and you blew us away.
I've heard from a friend of mine who's in the know and very reliable. I am a investigative reporter myself, as we have
That's
been
right.
known to show on this week.
During the day.
on this
Yes.
show.
Cool.
7 weeks.
Pardon?
7 weeks.
7 weeks.
7.
And that's come from a good source.
A reliable source. Reliable source. Yes. I don't give names. As you know, the investigative reporters, we don't do that. We don't burn our bridges. So 7 weeks, I think we'll be in lockdown, guys. So get used to this.
No.
Oregon 3.
I reckon it's 3 or 4. 7 is outlandish.
Well, hey,
I
I'm just
can't-
saying,
I
four
can't survive
didn't
7
quite get
weeks.
it, did it?
I actually
4
can't.
didn't get it.
No,
Financially,
4 did get it, but then
Well,
it fed up again. I reckon
exactly.
that, I don't know. I reckon it's bung the beers back in the window, get back into your bread making, that kind of thing. We'll be all right. We can do this. We'll keep you company,
Yeah, we'll be
Thursdays.
right.
We'll do that.
Mate, if
Exactly.
everyone's got a friend, make sure you message in
Yeah.
now.
But write down the whole, this person heard from this
Yeah.
person.
I've heard
Because that's
from
that's
this
the best
person.
bit of any one of these, every one of these things.
Brendan's coming hot and said Auckland will go into level 4. The rest of us will stay at level 2.
No, we're going to do the same.
I
We're going
don't
to do
know
the same.
about that.
Because there'll be
Yeah.
dickheads that try and go for the drive at night.
Yeah, I know someone who knows somebody. Tim Gregory says $1.87. That's it. Goes crazy. All right, let's get into the
That's
fight
great.
card. Let's get ready to rumble! Fight card, NATO. What was it last week? I can't even remember. Who do we have fighting who?
Last week was what's been the biggest letdown of 2020. The biggest build. In fact, let's just say biggest build-ups. Was it Daniel Carter as a blue, or was it the Murder Hornet?
Oh,
So
yes.
for those of you that might not remember, the Murder Hornet was like going to be the next giant wave of thing that was going to come and kill us all this year. But Daniel Carter, I believe, is that right, Peard? Came more than, what is it? 40,000 points
Yeah.
margin. 40,000 votes.
40,000 ahead. So I think we have a lot of Auckland people, and then of course we do have a good rugby community watching overseas, so they would have got involved
Yeah.
with it. And if you're not American, the Murder Hornet was really an American-based rumor, wasn't it? Like it didn't make the rest of the world.
Well, no, I remember it did make it because it was like, oh no, not that now. Oh, now bubonic plague. It's like, it's all right, we've got penicillin for that. But the Murder Hornet was going to be the thing, and it did nothing. It was a joke. It was worse than the Broncos actually, but it was Dan Carter that did that.
That's tough.
Well, at least the Murder Hornet didn't go out for bloody dinner at a place, did it? But I've got another one for this week.
All right.
I've got
What
another
have
one
you
for
got?
this week, but the problem is that Robbie Daly, he's actually written in basically the same poll as I've got for tonight, but for a different sport.
Mm.
So shall we go with Robbie's? Because I quite liked my one, but I'm thinking like I want to feel like the audience is involved here. We're all part of it together. So I'm going to go with this. Greatest Warriors commentator of all time. Is it Graham Sensational Hughes or Jason Steeden Costigan?
Oh.
So there you go. Is it the sensational volumes of Graham Hughes, or is it he's got a boarding pass of Costo? So there you go. So those were his ones.
I don't know the first guy that you talked about.
Graham Hughes.
Graham Hughes, like I know of him, but I
Rugby
can't.
league.
Costo was always like the OG kind of. In my mind, in my memory, Costo was always the guy that you're like, who is that guy? Just keep screaming.
Is Graham Hughes the ex-Bulldogs player? Or is this?
Yes, I think he actually. Yeah. No. I think
okay.
he was. Never cave it. So he was the one. I remember his one was he was really early days, like actual OG days of it. So the debut bit of jersey. So and he was very big with his sensational, and I like that because I hear that quite a bit. When people are doing backyard rugby or whatever, like when people play backyard cricket and they'll go chew for 22. With those, it just comes out. Well, I think Graham Hughes.
I remember
had a lot of that.
sensational.
Yeah, it was on. It was on back in the old. I think it was actually might have even been the pre-Sky days.
Yeah,
Graham Hughes.
Today McKay says Graham Hughes was the voice of TV2 Rugby League.
Yeah, it was back in the old days of rugby league when you could probably VHS. You could VHS a game of it back then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to be Costo, Lance reckons. Back in the man cave, stuff this COVID crap. Matthew Baxter. Did the Aish get back to you, Bax? Aish, have you mentioned him back?
No, I haven't. Sorry, Baxter. I've been busy, mate. I've been very busy.
He's been very busy.
I've had my hand in a lot of pots. A lot of pies?
Pies, you've fingers in a lot of pies.
Sorry.
All right.
Same stuff.
We are waiting on a call from Leon Wratt. I'll pass the link through to him. He is the
cool.
What is it? What is head of program?
He's the big boss man.
Yeah,
he is the big boss man of what goes on the radio for the MediaWorks stations.
What are they stations, Nato? Who comes under the MediaWorks umbrella?
The Rock, The Breeze, More FM, Magic Talk. Am I leaving someone out? And did I say The Rock? Said The Rock. Oh, the other one, The Sound.
Oh, yeah. Well, they've also got the online platform, which is Rover, which we're on at the moment. And it's exciting news that we do get to hear the cricket in a radio version of it when we're out painting the fences and stuff like that. So that's a cool thing. But first of all, I wanted to launch into things. As you can see, I have my Phoenix Suns attire all lined up in the background. And for all you OG Phoenix Suns fans, there's a couple of old school ones in there. I've got Charles Barkley and Dan Marley.
Dan Marley.
Now,
Thunder
Aish,
Dan Marley.
What did you say to me? Go on.
Sorry.
What did you say to me when you were looking at my singlets?
I said, why is Stoudemire crunched up to the top and Jamali's there in front of him?
Well, you answer that, Nato. Why would Dan Marley be in front of Amari?
Because he's Dan Marley. He was
too young for me.
He was the man. So he played in that team that had Kevin Johnson and Charles Barkley and that in it. He was like the gunner, the 3-point gunner.
Yeah.
Who was a good defender. Out on the wing, and now he's got a restaurant that sells apparently amazing chicken wings that's within walking distance of the stadium of the Talking Sticks Arena. That's where I was really hoping that we go there, but we didn't. But there you go.
Didn't we see something? Wasn't there in another restaurant when we went up close to what was the big valley thing that you can go and look at that we went and saw?
Grand Canyon.
The old Grand Canyon. You've heard of that before.
Big valley.
Remember we were in that township beforehand, and there was a bar on that corner that had Dan Marley had his signature on it, and we could have gone into that as well, but we sort of you and I
was also a Dan Marley.
See, here's the story about Nate and I, Blake. We're not massive drinkers, and when we were on tour, we were kind of just when we were on tour, we kind of were like just respectfully looking at the towns and looking at everything, and then when it came night time, we'd be like, Nate and I'd go off to our hotel room, we'd chat away, and then we'd fall asleep. Or we'd go shopping.
We went to Walmart.
We went to Walmart. We went and got massive things, but there were a lot of people out there. So I wanted to talk about the Phoenix Suns' chances of actually making the 8. But first of all, leading the news, sports news, was the story about the Crusaders and them breaking the brand new Super Rugby Aoteroa trophy, and it was put out on One News like it was the worst thing that's ever happened in the world. Now, we have seen some skullduggery happening with teams when they celebrate, and I'm almost sure that probably the Crusaders had a couple of beers, but they weren't Mad Mondaying it because they had a game against the Blues next weekend, which would be this weekend, which might not happen now. But I would have to say that I don't think they would have been a team that was kicking it about and being stupid with it, right? Someone maybe dropped it.
Well, let's go back to COVID. Weren't they the team that was doing stupid things and training together?
Oh, you're right.
Hey,
that was just, but some of them just happened to accidentally go down the park at the same time.
I'm just saying maybe they were on Mad Monday. They might have had their reserves team playing. They might have done these things, Mark. You're just assuming, mate.
This is what I hated with Ace. Like,
that's exactly how it got broken.
Ace,
On the piss.
This is the great thing. This is the great thing with Ace. Not only has he listed it 7 weeks in lockdown because of a source and his investigative journalism, but he's sure because of his habits whilst drinking on Mad Mondays that trophy got broken because of skullduggeryness. I just found it weird that TV1 was leading with that as their headline for the sports news. Like, it was like, the family's upset. And I understand, and don't disrespect to the family. I mean, it's a special trophy and it shouldn't get ruined. But to start it out of the news, I was like, what are you doing? Come on, man. We're about to hit.
There's like, the most beaten up trophy in the world is the Stanley Cup.
Oh, easily.
That's the one, the hockey trophy. There's an entire website dedicated to stories that have happened to the Stanley Cup. One of the best ones was the Toronto Maple Leafs won it one of their years, and 2 of the guys were a bit pissed on the way home, and one of them bet the other one, because he used to be a college kicker. He bet the other one, go to the other side of the canal, I can kick it to you. And he kicked it. It didn't make it. It landed in the water, and they were like, we're drunk, we'll go back and get it in the morning. And, of course, when they came back to get it in the morning, the river had frozen over. So the Stanley Cup sat at the bottom of a river for, I think it was 4 months before it thawed out enough for them to get it back. But there's like an entire website of all the Stanley Cup stories as well. And I've heard that sometimes the Ranfurly Shield has been next to players when they're perhaps
Didn't the America's Cup get a hiding from some Māori fella?
Yeah, that was a guy. Yeah, he hated that though. He went into the yacht squadron, and fair enough too. He probably tried to buy a steak there. It's so expensive. It's not even that good. Can I get an ice hockey story in for you?
You can. Leon is waiting. He is waiting in the room.
So Stanley Cup overtime is what ruins overtime for every other sport, because you know how everyone wants the glory of sudden death. Right, but it works best in ice hockey because you can get from one end of the ice to the other in about 3 seconds on a turnover and score, and it's amazing, right? So what they do in the Stanley Cup is like ice hockey is made up of 3 20-minute periods, and if you go into overtime, you just keep playing until someone scores a goal. That's how it works, right? And you play an entire extra 20-minute period to do it. So there's three periods in a game. Columbus played Tampa Bay. They played 5 periods of overtime. So they played 4 full 20-minute periods on top of the 3 that they'd already played for a normal game. And they scored in the 10th minute of the 5th overtime on the way in. So Korpisalo was the goalie who let the goal in. Normally a goalie would make like 24 saves in a game. This dude made 85 saves and still lost. So that was the one, man. And it's like when you've been skating and stuff, it's like running up sand dunes. It's massively exhausting. So, of course, the worst bit was they're playing in a bubble, and there's 2 other teams that were waiting to play, and that game took so long that in the end, the other 2, their game was postponed, but they were just basically sitting on the bus waiting to play outside this. So they played, rather than 60 minutes, they played 150 minutes. Of ice times. There you go. That's my story. Thank you for coming to my ice hockey TED Talk.
Wonderful. Did they just quickly before Leon? Thank you so much for joining us. I'll give you a proper introduction shortly. Just quickly, Nato.
Yes, mate.
Before you so there were no crowds at ice hockey at the moment.
No. They're playing in two pods.
So if you can think about this, if they did have crowds and you paid to get into a game and that was your favourite team, maybe you just travelled to the States to watch, or you were in Canada, wherever. If you paid to get a seat there, imagine how much value for money that is. If they played,
I know.
That,
I've seen one that's gone to like triple overtime before, and they were like going around the crowd, and the crowd's just falling asleep, and there's kids and that thing like wake up, and then like just through it and that as well. So I just figured that at the end they were just so tight. Maybe the goalie fell asleep, and that's how the goal went in there as well. But yeah, but of course, short turnaround. They're back on the ice tomorrow. So good luck with that.
Good luck with that. Fatigue levels sitting in. Thank you so much, Head of Programming for MediaWorks, Leon Wratt, for joining us. Leon, can I just thank you straight away for allowing us as New Zealanders to be able to listen to cricket when we're out painting fences and doing all the outside chores that we've grown accustomed to in this country by bringing it to life and bringing it to MediaWorks. Thank you.
It is my patriotic duty and a lover of cricket to do so. So no problem at all, Mark.
Let me start off by asking why did you think that this would be a sound investment, and why you wanted to get into it, other than being a cricket fan?
No, pretty much just because I'm a cricket fan, actually. It had nothing to do with the sound investment part at all. Look, obviously cricket is an incredibly popular game in New Zealand, as we all know. The team, the Black Caps are an excellent team, and they have such, fans that love to follow the game, and I felt it was a great opportunity for MediaWorks to get involved. When NZME decided to shut Radio Sport and move on from the cricket, it was too good an opportunity to pass up. So we jumped at the opportunity, had a chat with New Zealand Cricket, and here we are. So we're just really getting excited and looking forward to the summer. And every single closet cricket fan or commentator I've heard from in the last 48 hours. My inbox is full. I work through to midnight. I've been contacted from all over the world with people that want to come back to New Zealand and commentate cricket. So, there's no lack of potential commentators. I can tell you that.
Hey, Leon, you've been quite famous.
Well, there's one.
Music radio. Yeah, there's me. Thank you. I'll be there coming in from the Te Two end.
Absolutely.
He comes in and he gets the question. Oh, there is just what's fun. Mate, can you, you've normally done music and now you're kind of getting into this. How did you find that whole back and forward of sorting out a deal for cricket commentary? It was fine. To be honest, it was fine. I had a sort of vision for what we wanted to do and how we wanted to run it. I mean, I think Radio Sport have obviously done a fantastic job over the many years that they've had it. But I think there's an opportunity to really change things up a little bit and come in with a fresh approach to it. So you're right. Most of my life has been programming entertainment radio stations. But look, at the end of the day, if sport isn't entertainment, I don't know what it is. A great game of rugby or cricket or whatever is our soap opera to a certain extent for all sports lovers. So I love it. So I'm sure that we can bring it to life in the same way.
Leon, I love that's music to my ears when you remind everybody that sport is entertainment, because I think sometimes it can get caught up in the political side of things or just the talkback side of things, but it is actually entertainment. It's a bit of escapism for us. Did you plan your Tuesday announcement knowing that there was a real risk we'd be going back into lockdown and you wouldn't be able to be sitting there next to David White with all the cameras on you?
You could tell from my smile that I had absolutely no idea what was coming. It would only have been more exciting for me to have been sitting next to Whitey and taking my first black caps because I was opening the batting or bowling against the Australians in the upcoming summer series. It was an awesome moment. So it's exciting. Like I said, I'm just excited as a sports fan and as a cricket fan to get an opportunity to bring the what is to me the sound of summer, as you sort of opened up with, Mark, to New Zealanders all over the country.
Mate, you mentioned before about the commentators. Plenty of messaged you. Is there any chance you can let us know a couple of the lively characters that are a chance of getting in there?
The heavy
hitters. I would have to kill you if I told you. Look,
go do that. No, go.
Yeah, you're more.
We're making no commitment at all at this stage. It's early days. Truly, we just finished the deal. The day before we announced it. So I've only just started really looking now. Just really started to have really lots of good chats with people, and to be honest, almost every single commentator that you've either heard before has contacted us, and so to be honest, it's going to be really tough to choose a commentary team, but I'm very confident we're going to have a really great one that all the fans will really enjoy over summer.
Just a reminder to everyone who's watching, by all means, you can give us questions and we'll give them to Leon. Just quickly, Leon, can you pull the curtain back a little bit so that we can see behind the scenes? You've gone into negotiate.
There's no curtain. What are you talking about? I feel like I've come into my daughter's bedroom because it's the quietest place in the house, but I feel like I've really underdone it looking at your room.
Oh, yeah. We're sports.
And look at Nathan. I mean, Nathan's just gone off the hook. Look at that for a background. That's fantastic.
What's the when you go into contract negotiations for broadcasting rights, just to give us a little eye opener, what are the types of things that are going on? What are you guys talking about? Surely you just say, hey, New Zealand Cricket, we've got this bevy of great stations behind me that we can help promote your game. Surely they gift it to you, or what type of things happen in those conversations?
Yeah, look, I think there's a lot of things that happen. I think the most important part is you need to form we need to form a great partnership with New Zealand Cricket, and the way that I suppose that we approached it is when we take on a sponsorship, with whether it be the Breakers, whether it be the netball, whether it's the Super Rugby team, or anybody else that we're getting involved with, it's absolutely making sure that they understand that we are committed to them, not only from a broadcast perspective, but really from a promotional perspective. We get a kick and a huge satisfaction out of seeing full crowds, coming in. And the Breakers was a really good example of that. We, this last season was the first season that we'd promoted the Breakers. We had My FM as the lead station, but all the stations sort of, got in behind it. And, they had the best crowd attendance of the entire league, and it was up 36% from the year before. They had some good players come in, obviously, but, we felt like we really helped sell out some of those stadiums and really create some of the hype. So, we're really looking forward to that. And I think that that's the sort of fresh approach that we really took to New Zealand cricket as well. I want to see full stadiums. If we get out of this COVID problem, we want to see full stadiums. We want to see Kiwis supporting it, just like they have with the Super Rugby Aoteroa competition. So, nothing will be more exciting than a packed house at Eden Park, and the Aussies coming in to play a 2020 or a one-dayer, or maybe even the first day of a test match. Imagine that. That'll be awesome. So, that's really what it was about. It was about the excitement. We want to bring it.
So I guess that's just cricket that you look at, or would you do like a Breakers commentary? I mean, I know you promoted them, and that would that be something you'd think for?
We would definitely look at carrying some commentaries further than we have before. This is our first time really getting into commentary. I mean, Nathan, you've been around MediaWorks for a while. We had B Sport where you were on with Smithy,
Dino.
Dino, Jeff, maybe.
Yes,
so we've sort of done that, but we haven't really got into the commentary side of things. Carry the odd World Cup here and there, but it's been always generally commentary coming in from somewhere else. But yeah, we'll definitely look to it. Obviously, without radio sport in the market, there's an opportunity there. And to be honest, like I said, I think it's an exciting potential for us to grow the audience. And with the digital channels now, we've got our Rover app, and those numbers are just going through the roof. There's a chance to reach an audience, even for games which may have not been able to get a big enough audience on a normal, radio station, for example. But you can get an audience just like what you're doing, Mark, here, and gain a loyalty to it. And it goes alongside whatever's happening on Spark or Sky Sport. It just helps to keep fans in touch with the game, which is what we need to do.
And is there anything stopping you guys from, say, going to a rugby league or all these other sports and getting this commentary? Like following up on Nato's question.
Money, lack of money, possibly, Blake. No, there's really not. I mean, it's just a matter of having the conversations with with whoever holds the rights to the games. What's really good when dealing with someone like cricket is that they are the game and the rights holders, so they are always looking at the bigger picture, which I really think works for us, because that's exactly what we're looking like. I'm sure it's the same with you. You've obviously played rugby league for a long time. I'm sure that you want to come along to a game and you want to see the crowds just absolutely jamming in, jam packed, and supporting the team. And I think that's what the role is as a sponsoring station. We really need to do, as well as obviously keep them in touch while the game's on. So yeah, we'd love to have a look at that.
Well, plenty of time in the reserve grades playing rugby league. But let me just throw through some of the questions that we've got coming through, Leon.
I didn't want to say that, Mark. I thought I'll leave it.
Don't follow up with him, mate.
No. There's some questions that have come through, and of course, the community watching is always important. So if you'd like to pad some of these off or play a shot on them, you're more than welcome to.
Sure.
Tude wants to know: is MediaWorks going to make a sports entertainment specific radio channel, or is it going to be just on Magic Box? I think it's Magic Talk, but Magic Box is what he's called it, or whatever it's called. Or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I like Magic Box.
Magic Box is pretty good. Maybe we could create a Magic Box that you listen on. It only tunes into one radio station, and that's one I tell it to. Look, We definitely, I think we could definitely have a look at that. It really depends. At the moment, of course, you've only got X amount of frequencies available to you. So from a radio perspective, at the moment, Magic Talk's a place that we can play it out on. We've got a bunch of other music stations that we could, but you know, I know that Triple M in Australia did play the Ashes series on there, but I don't believe it was very successful for them. Triple M's like the Rock here in New Zealand. And that played out a full test match series, I think, in the latest Ashes. But I don't think that was particularly a good move on their behalf. But they had no other choice because they've only got 2 channels as part of that network. But yeah, we could look to do it. I mean, obviously, as again I said before, we've obviously got digital channels, so we can definitely branch easily into that. You know, you can create unlimited amount of channels in that scenario.
That's exciting.
I definitely think, obviously, there is a place at the moment. And that, again, you're looking to fill a little bit, Mark, aren't you? Having come from radio sport, that there is a gap in that market now.
Totally. Don't get into that market. You'll crush me out of it. No. There's a couple more questions, and then we have to go. Sorry, Liam, we have to let you go because we've got Karl Te Nana waiting. Karl Te Nana's waiting to get online. A young Gerhard Samanki wants to know, can't wait for the cricket. What about MMA coverage? ?
Gerhard works for us.
Yes.
There's no way that I would ever play anything. He actually goes in the ring twice a week and gets a shit kicked out of him, I understand. So sorry about that, Gerhard.
I mean, one of the weirdest stories I ever got told was by Gerhard. He said, "Oh, it's been great. I've got into kickboxing. What's it like? Oh, I got punched out by Jason Suddy. It was brilliant." I was thinking, like, far out. That's not normally a sales guy thing.
No, he's like one of those reserve league players. Just keeps going in every week and just getting the shit kicked out of them for whatever reason. We don't know why. Yeah.
That's just a jab. Finally, this is Will Miller, and he wants.
Can you imagine MMA working that well on radio? So I don't know if it really works that well on radio, does it? Oh, I suppose it might do.
Oh, yeah, it could.
Might be entertainment.
We're about to see the opening.
That's right.
Yeah. I'd like to hear Nathan call that, actually. I think Nathan would be good at that.
There's
a hype man going.
That's fun. Speaking of hype man, this last question comes from Will Miller. He wants to know whether you think the saying, "Let's get it," is a great way of starting the cricket. First ball.
Mate, sorry. Can you do it again? Can you do it again, please?
Yeah.
Okay.
Properly.
So
this is basically Peard's Let's Get Ready to Rumble. Okay, he's working on this.
So we had Michael Buffer on the show a couple of weeks ago, and I have been trying through the NBL season to get the, you know, how he does the "Let's Get Ready to Rumble" was his big calling.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been trying to go "Let's get it" as a catch cry for Kiwi sportsmen to know that bang, we're underway, let's go. And Will Miller's really just thrown me under the bus. He's watching right now. He said in there, he wanted to know, what does Leon think of "Let's get it"? What would you think of the first ball underway?
For a 2020 match, that might work, Mark. You know, like, yeah.
Thank you.
2020 maybe.
Thank you, Leon. That's all I needed to
Could you be a ground announcer? You could definitely do it as a ground announcer.
Yeah, that's my cup of tea. All right, Leon, thank you. Again, round of applause. It's awesome that you guys have done that. And thank you for joining us.
See you, mate.
Okay, mate. See ya.
Beautiful.
Fuck you, Will. Fuck you, Will. No, I'm sorry. Not fuck you, Will. I was just...
It's grown on me, Mark.
It's growing on
me. It's growing on me too. I want to. Someone suggested, what about a face mask with it written on it?
Yeah, that could be a goer. That could be a goer.
Yeah.
All right. Without further ado, he's a legend in sevens. He's a legend in life. He's been travelling around the country covering Super Rugby. He's our man from just down the road. It is Karl Te Nana. Karl, thank you so much for joining us, brother. How are you?
Evening, boys. Hope you're all safe, keeping well.
Of course we are. Look at you. What's that? What's your do-rag? Is that a Grizzlies do-rag?
No way. It's the Ravens, mate.
Oh, the Ravens. Oh, I couldn't see it. Yuck.
Yeah.
There he
Two
is.
Ravens.
My man.
There. Only way.
Grim. There's something about Ravens fans, you know, they're just that little
What,
like
the most famous
blokes,
club
good
murdered
blokes.
someone in a limo and got away with it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, here we go. Here we
Come on,
go.
No, he didn't see a thing. Sorry, someone else murdered someone in the limo, and he was listening.
We're mucking
to
around.
Charles
Get straight into it, eh? Holy smokes, mate.
straight into all right.
Wait, warm up.
All right, no warm up. Let's go live now, KT. So we're live on air. Just a welcome along, brother, and thank you for being available, mate. You've had a busy old time. Travelling around the country doing the Super Rugby Aoteroa, and Nate was just telling me a story. He was down in Christchurch last weekend watching the Crusaders play, and he said it's the first time he's seen them play for a while. He was in person. and the speed that their counter-attack and the speed that those boys are moving at is another level. You've seen most of the teams now around the country. Would you agree? Would you concur with that assessment from Nate?
Yeah, I can't spell it, but I definitely agree with it. I think, I mean, just honestly, like, you know, I've been lucky enough to see a few of the games, and the level has just gone up so much more than like pre-lockdown, you know. And I know the guys, when you're playing against when you're playing against the best, normally brings out the best. That's not a buffalo, no, it's not. You know, there it is, flaming it up. He's flaming it up. There's Tat North. No, but honestly, like, yeah, that's not special. Yeah. No, but it's brutal. It's brutal and it's fast. And the Crusaders just at that next level, because all they need is one sniff. They'll stay in the fight, as we know, but they just need one little small hole and they're gone.
I thought, Carly, like having a look, because I'd never been to Orange Theory before, and it's kind of got those. It's really small and it's quite steep when you sit up in it, so you kind of had a bird's eye view. But the bit that struck me was like how much they move off the ball, and when there's some sort of counter attack, they're like Agent Smith, right, from the Matrix, because all of a sudden you've got two of them, and then there's one skip pass, and all of a sudden there's five, and you're watching it going like, where the hell did those guys come from? Like the particular try, I mean, as you know, the Brynhall skip pass out to Cebu, got in a couple of times. I came back home and I rewound it and watched it like 5 times, just tracking dudes. Like, what sort of work is involved in being that engaged? Like, how do they get that organised compared to everybody else?
Yeah, I think the thing is, first and foremost, they keep their shape, and regardless of what number's on your back, I think it's the awareness of, right, this is our setup straight away. We're keeping our width, and if you're a prop in the midfield, you still got to be able to execute those skills. You know, I think that's probably the main thing that they get right. You know, so if you get a call from the outside, it might be a prop, it might be the outside backer, whoever it is, they're ready to go and they trust that player. So obviously, their first thing I think Razor does is they get in a position to be able to do that. If it's on, it's on. If it's not, then they try and sneak back and go into their core roles. But I think that's probably the major thing I've seen with them. And you can just see the basic skills. All it is basic skills, and they execute them under pressure. And probably that's why they stand out more than most.
Mate, I want to get your thoughts on the first past the post. Like, to me, like watching it, like I sort of knew the Crusaders were going to get there. I think we all did. But wouldn't you like to see another week where there's just those top two have a final? Like, wouldn't it set up like you get like 50,000 probably to a game? And like I just reckon the first past the post was a bit of a waste of a time, especially for the Hurricanes, Highlanders, Chiefs, who were out of it after about week 3.
Well,
no. Yeah, well, they've been on a bit of a roll, but I suppose like when the NZRU set it up, it was just one of those things. No one actually knew what was going to happen, if we're going to actually get games or whatever the case may be, and it just turned out to be this out of it competition, you know. And obviously, we'd really love to have a champion and crown that in a final, but I think that's just some learnings. We got some live footy, we all enjoyed it, and you know, it ended up being what it was going to be, you know. And I think just for me, just seeing people back at the park, seeing families back at the park, and just enjoying a day out, you know, it happened to be awesome. It happened to be the footy, but it was just awesome to see them back. Yes, sir.
Sorry, no, that was just my indication to tell Blake that I'm coming in next and not to have a follow-up question. No. Because you touch on a very salient point in the sense that we've learned a couple of things from this Super Rugby Aoteroa competition, right? We've learned that the 4 p.m. kickoffs on a Sunday are an absolute treat. The afternoon games just work. What else have we learned? We've learned that not playing shitty teams and not having too much rugby actually helps people engage in the teams that we have right now.
Sorry?
I'm saying shitty Australian teams, Blake.
No one misses the cheaters.
I have not seen a game of Super Rugby Australia because it doesn't.
Neither have I.
It doesn't give me go. And we're all NFL fans, right? So we know that if you give fans a chance to miss the sport, everyone will want more of it. You know, just leave them hanging, leave them wanting. And that's what we're all waiting for right now. Will the NFL get underway? Because we're those fans and they've given us a chance to meet them. So what other lessons would you say that New Zealand rugby could have taken from this Super Rugby season?
I think that's the major one. I'll be honest with you, bro. Like, packaging it up, because people know they've got, you know, 3 or 4 home games and that's it. Rugby's done for the rest of the year. You know, so they're going to go out and want to be there, want to be a part of and experience that big game. So, like you say, I think capping these tournaments at a certain block, you know, and then we can move on to another block, whether it be the All Blacks, or then we move into another block, whether it be teams coming down to New Zealand. But I'm right with it. Just got oversaturated. It's been like that for a long time. So, and I think also going back to that tribalism and getting those rivalries going with the Blues and the Crusaders and the Canes and the Highlanders, I think that's been a big part of it as well, because people can identify with those like they did back in the day when we were like in the Mitre 10 Cup or NPCs it was.
Yeah, Poverty Bay.
I always felt like Poverty Bay. I always felt that it seemed like the big scary thing for Australian and New Zealand rugby was that South Africa would take all their viewers and all their dollars and walk. Because now it seemed every couple of years, it's like, well, we're going to go and play in England. Ha, 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 like that. So do you reckon that the shot in the arm that what we've seen in front of us to go, actually, this could survive by itself? Do you think that makes New Zealand rugby braver to go, okay, we'll go and play in England then?
100%, bro. You know, and I mean, I know they're already talking to investors over in the States, you know, and that's the big market. And they can, like, I know that in Premiership is shown on ESPN. Well, if NZO, you could get something like that as a package, you know, that takes it to another stratosphere. And I actually think the South Africans know that if they go up to England, that's going to hurt their Springboks and their national chances, and they'll go back to revert to the Springboks in the 1960s and 70s where they just this sort of rubbish, and you know, and they won't get exposed to our skills. And that's why they won the World Cup last year, I'll be honest, because they're exposed to the All Blacks and how we played, you know. So I think they know if they go over there, that's probably something they don't want to do, because they'll play the Poms and beat them and be rubbish and go to old school, you know. So I reckon it's just, on a selfish point of view, I don't really care what they're up to. I think we look after ourselves first and foremost, and then if they want to come and join us, and so be it, has to be on our terms.
Remember when I started a small Nato at the Radio Sports Studios, the late Radio Sports Studios, and I was talking about the fact that we need to be more like America in the sense that they call themselves world champions.
That was your mistake, right?
World champs,
man. They call themselves world champs when they win the NFL or they win the NBA. We're the world champs. And that's the thing. Like, if we were more insular and we were more inward facing, we could just call ourselves world champs for whoever wins Super Rugby. We don't give a shit about everyone else. Just kind of act a little bit like that. And the great thing is that if you're acting that way, and the rest of the world knows that premium rugby players and premium rugby skill sets come from this country, they'll be watching. They'll be over there and they'll order it and they'll watch us from afar and they'll be like, oh, what are the New Zealanders up to? Oh, look how fantastic their rugby is. If we keep it insular and we just have confidence in our product, we can totally rule the world from little old New Zealand.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, if we really went over the top and say for the All Blacks did like the Lions and did full tours, maybe Australia one year, South Africa the next year, England the year after, you're only going to these places once every 12 years, you know what I mean? So you're going to create that demand, and like you say, we're going to be able to cause a demand in the market and charge our own fees. You know what I mean? Rather than having to go up there and play them every year. If we don't, then you know it's a whole different ballpark in our favour, I think.
But why would they not do that? Because everywhere, like America, they know the All Blacks. You know what I mean? All these different countries know the All Blacks and rugby union. I don't know rugby league. They don't know like the Kiwis, any of that. They don't know any other sports. They know the All Blacks. Why have they not done that yet? Do you reckon it's something they can? Yeah.
Well, I think also like even in the colleges starting to do the huckers and all that sort of stuff as well, and it's becoming a lot more focused. And even when we were in Vegas a couple of years ago, everyone knew the rugby was on. You know, when I was out of it, like walk down the street, hey, rugby guy, you know, and it's just for Native Americans, like, hey, and it was really out of it, you know, of a place that, like you say, that traditionally it wasn't not a big sport, you know. So it's starting to get into the mindsets of the Americans, and I mean that's an option that we could have with our own Super Rugby Aoteroa, is getting a team from the States and getting one from Japan or a company or whatever, and not having, you know, the South Africans. I mean that's the reality that we can choose.
This idea that we propose one and we bring in like a Pacifica team, I was thinking there, I mean, like, I guess I heard that, you know, one of the proposals was they could base it in Auckland, right, and then play a couple of games in the islands as well. Do you reckon that what would happen, because I think there'd be quite a few New Zealand players that would want to play in that because of heritage, you know, and they'd like to do that. Do you think that'll change the rules a bit on where the NZ Rugby can select guys from to become All Blacks? Because if they're in a, you know what I mean, if they're in a Pacifica team, like it might be like, oh, well, that's not a New Zealand team. Do you think they would change their rules a bit?
No, NZAU probably not. I'll be honest with you, Nathan, you know that. Hey, the evil empire. I just think if it's an islands team, preferably I prefer it to be in the islands. You know what I mean? I know that's probably not going to be reality to start off with. I know it's probably going to be funded to a degree by NZAU and what have you. But I just think there'll be a lot of guys that probably have played for the All Blacks that probably want to go, like you're saying, back and give back to the islands. That's probably an opportunity for them because of the eligibility rules with rugby. They're not going to be able to be capped and go play, say, a person who's played for the All Blacks and played for Samoa, but the next best thing is probably being able to play for their Super Rugby team, the Pacific Island team, you know. So it's probably an option for those guys to go do that. I actually think if you do base it in the islands or at some stage, I reckon some of those older guys in Europe will probably come back and take the hit, and that'll be their give back to the islands as well, you know. So and then you're going to get the younger guys coming through, and it might take a little while for it to grind. Get its ground in, but I think then it gives the options for those local Pacific Island players to say, you know what, I don't have to go to Europe. I can stay at home and play for my home Pacific Islander team, and then that's the payoff for them to stay and play for their islands when it comes to the World Cups and what have you like that. So I think that's the reality. And it's going to take a little while, might take a generation, but you know.
Speaking of the islands, can I just say congratulations, and I know he watches the show as well, to Salala Mapasua, who's been named the coach of Manu Samoa. Like that, such a smart appointment. The dude has got his head screwed on. He's got a wealth of experience from international rugby to playing in domestic leagues all around the world. I just think that's such a smart investment from them. And I mean, did you ever spend some time with Salala, Karl? Or have you? Yeah. I just think he just seems like such a smart move from them.
Yeah, I actually caught up with him at the World Cup there, and we had a good time and caught the flight back home with him, you know, and he never seen the bro for a while, and he explained what he was doing. And
was he groggy then too?
Oh, he was still in the haze. The high border's got him, bro. The old high border's got him. Woo! Yeah, he was still speaking fluent Japanese when I saw him. So it's he was on fire. But I sent him a message last night saying, "Oh, that's awesome." As soon as I found out about the bro getting the job, but I'm with you. Very, very smart appointment by them to be able to get him involved and in charge of that shit, man. Because I need someone like him, like you say, who's had so much experience to be able to blend that. And I think also been what he's doing on the other side, probably more so with the administrative part of it. He's a smart dude, man. So that's a good buy.
Yeah, and what about for you in lockdown? What happens now? I mean, we've experienced. Everyone knows somebody who knows somebody who's told them what Jacinda's going to say at 5:30 tomorrow evening.
What's the best rumor you've heard from someone who lives next door to someone who's heard something and says it's going to be this long?
How long?
What's the one you've heard?
Rumor or trumor?
Rumor or trumor?
Rumor or trumor? I have it on good authority.
One of those. Yeah.
One of those ones.
Yeah.
No, I heard we're going to level 4 tomorrow. Everyone else is going into level 3, and I heard 2 weeks on that, but I don't know.
Oi, you're not even close. Go, Blake. Hit him, Blake. Hit him, Blake.
Mate,
Blake's
I've heard from a friend of a friend who is a very reliable source, and I have been an investigative reporter for almost a year now, that it's going to be 7 weeks.
7 weeks?
I
I'm saying with you guys, I'm getting divorced.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Before we go, I just want to. You went back. You were talking about Vegas.
Yes.
On this show where we're going to Vegas in 2025.
Yes.
But just as an interview, just to get on board the crew, we want to know the best place you've been to party, because you have been around the world. The best place you've been to party, and have you got any stories?
No stories. I would honestly tell you if I remembered it, but I don't have any. But I had it on authority. The Spearmint and Rhino goes all right.
Yeah. The baked spearmint. Right.
Oh, yes.
All right.
Look, since you haven't got any stories to tell, what I'll do is, this is a question I've got that I've wanted to ask the three of you for years, since it happened 2 days ago. So here we go. What do you think is more brutal? Do you think it's like these Super Rugby derbies, or do you think it was in the baseball the other day when Reese Maguire, who was the catcher for the Toronto Blue Jays, who was arrested in February for masturbating in his car? Do you think it's more brutal that every time he walked up to bat the other day, the Atlanta Braves played Beat It? He also went 0 for 3. How good, eh?
He was firing duds. The bro was firing duds.
Best part was when he walked out to bat and he heard it, he saw him recognise it and go.
I love it when
Baseball.
that's American sports
Oh,
to do it
that's
too,
awesome.
though. They give themselves
Baseball's better when it's
free
better.
license, Free license
man.
to just go
And
100.
like if they're not throwing at the Astros' head, they're getting this guy would beat it. So there you go.
Hey,
No ruthless, eh?
we've got plenty of people watching at the moment, KT, and there's a question comes in from my guy, James Taitamu, who says, does KT see himself taking on sports leadership role, e.g. working for NZRU, or I forgot how much experience he has with broadcasting around the world. Surely that experience of observing rugby globally would be something that the New Zealand rugby could use. Is that something, we just talked about Salala taking that step, but does it appeal to you, that leadership role? Good question, James.
Yeah, awesome question. Thanks, bro. I actually work for World Rugby, so my main gig's for them, and I just contract out for Sky. So I just recently, I'm doing, I'm just learning the behind the scenes stuff, administrative stuff now in terms of that. So for me, I want to get into an administrative role and probably more so on the seven side and how that game's governed and just getting a seat at the table, because at the moment there's some people, as we know, they're in positions and making decisions and actually have a clue when it comes to actually on the ground and how things actually work. So, I'm actually trying to get there now. So it's on the tick board. And I think for me, moving out of comms is something I'm looking to do. Not right at the moment. I still love doing that, but pretty soon. So, in the next 4 or 5 years, hopefully get in that role and move into there, because I'm really passionate about it and just want to help out and I suppose be that link. Like a lot of players, a lot of coaches come up to me and talk about stuff, and being an ex-player can sort of sympathise and as you say, now from being a broadcasting point of view, can get that side and still get the whole entertainment without being too invasive on the teams and trying to move forward and make it a product that people want to be a part of, because there's lots of opportunities, for a lot of our kids and people, and that's something I really want to get amongst when I go around to schools, is like you can be an Olympian from wherever you come from, as long as you want to, or it doesn't have to be Olympian, but in terms of sevens, Olympian, but if you're ready to back yourself and put yourself out there's anything that can be achieved, so there's definitely on the cards, bro, for sure.
I saw there's over 180 US colleges that have a sevens team now. Like they are just putting together more and more and more of these programs as they go, because for them I guess it's a fun game, and it's a great way to learn your way in. But then to get out there and realise your ass is going to fall out because it's really exhausting.
I went to the Condor Sevens this year, and there was
good,
I think the USA and another team had an actual team from there come over. So the rest of them obviously had like New Zealand Samoan team and things like that, but USA had an actual team come over.
Oh wow,
that was amazing to see. Yeah.
And the Canadian boys too. I think the Canadians had a side there as well. So it's and I think them winning coming second in the World Series last year, and I think they're primed to get a medal. You know how the Yanks, if they win an Olympic medal, then man, it takes it to another stratosphere. So, and they're legitimate chances both on the men's and women's side of the game. So you don't need to be the most intellectual dude. I suppose they got the sprinters, they got the athletes, and they can learn that other initiative, other stuff outside of it. We've seen with Karl Te Nana, they only just missed out on the Olympics sprint squad by 1/100th of a second. So I mean, they've got the dudes that can play.
Are you stocked up, my guy? Are you stocked up on everything you need? Have you hit the Te Aratu Peninsula store to get everything you need for the next?
You got your rice
7 weeks. And all that. 7 weeks.
For the 7-week lockdown.
I went down at 5 to 1 because I know everyone will be watching Auntie Cindy. So I went down there while everyone was watching the TV. Got my flour. I got the flour, boys.
That's a great time. That's the best tip.
Good thinking.
Yeah, just before
when it's on.
Yeah, so going down 1 o'clock and I'll be down in the bottle store. That's the next one tomorrow. That's tomorrow's goals.
Oh, man.
No, because tomorrow the big announcement about whether we're all locked down is at 5:30. So I guess the key time to hit countdown.
Don't need to watch it. I just told you.
Oh, it's 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
It's what I've been told from my sources.
Your sources are all shit. I reckon 5:30 on the dot. You'll see me, Nate, and you all standing outside.
Yeah, all down there,
just outside the liquor shop, mate.
And
we'll strategize.
Mark, because he'll have his mask on inside out.
Yeah, I keep wearing the thing the wrong way. I don't know. They look the same, boy. They look the same. Okay, finally, before you go, KT, I need to know: are the Ravens winning the AFC North, or the Big Ben comeback bring the Steelers to the top of the table, or have the Browns finally found their form?
Oh, no one likes the colour brown. I'm just putting that out there. Big Ben, he's gone, mate. He's gone. Yes. There's a new age quarterback, bro. We all seen it last year. We all seen it. Right hand, left hand, like Mahomes. I know he got the contract. Lamar, he's coming, bro. Triple threat, bro. Triple threat.
My
Hey,
man.
Blake knows. Blake knows.
We're on, mate. We're on.
Don't get on board late either, you two.
No, we're not.
Yeah.
No, I'm Carolina hard. We don't need it. We
Oh,
don't need
you
Cam
poor
Newton.
bloke, you poor man.
We don't need Cam Newton.
My
Hey,
team stadium has a hole in the roof so God can watch his team play. Thank you very much. NFC East.
Dallas,
That's right.
man, you guys have made no
That's
noise in such a long time, Dallas.
Don't need to. We don't even need to win. How good's that? We don't
You
need
haven't
to
even got a quarterback. They signed and franchised him, haven't they?
No, I didn't even need to. We don't need to win. Everyone loves
He
us.
wants out. He wants out.
He wants out.
He wants
I must say before we go, I actually met Blake's dad at the Coogee Centurions a few years ago. It might have been your second year at the Warriors, bro. Saw the old man up there. I had a beer with him. Yeah. Yeah,
Hey.
bloke.
All right. This is my old man. I've got 8 uncles, so it might be one of my uncles.
Well, he did say Blake will pay back.
I love it. Hey, KT, thanks for your time, brother. Make sure we keep in touch. We'd love to do this again, brother.
Yeah,
Awesome, boys. Stay safe, eh?
All right, man. You too.
Always an honour.
We'll see you at the liquor store, 5:30, bro.
Here it is, 5:30.
Oh,
That's
bless
the
him.
best tip of the night. Te Nana skills.
Yeah, that was, wasn't it?
That's a good tip, that one.
That's amazing tips. Just very quickly before we go, because we do need to call it a night. Thank you to everyone who's been watching on Twitch. Just an FYI, boys, I don't know how familiar you are with the Twitch platform, but basically I haven't set up my widgets. I haven't set up my alerts. So every time someone follows, we're supposed to make a big deal of it. And if you have managed to follow this evening, I haven't been watching my the platform at all, but we're supposed to, like, if you have followed, Blake is going to do some press-ups to make up for it. So, like, every time we get a follow, Blake, you whip out 10 press-ups, and we're good. Yeah. We're good. But yeah, I haven't been covering that. And really quickly on my singlets up here, the Phoenix Suns, of course, battling. Tomorrow's game is a must-win. They're playing against Dallas. The Mavericks. Luka Doncic is just going to shoot up a storm on them, but we do have Devin Booker. If we win that game, we need to win that game. What else needs to happen? I've got
you need the Grizzlies to lose to the Bucks,
and the Bucks don't have Giannis.
No,
or Chris Middleton at the moment.
Oh, Middleton's off. See, they're just taking a fucking knee.
At the moment.
They have Dante DiVincenzo though.
Yes,
so
DiVincenzo. Yeah, so they need that to happen. Remembering too, and this is what should have happened for Super Rugby Aoteroa. Like, there's a playoff game for the 8th and 9th position. So basically, you have to the 9th team has to win 2 games. So it'll probably be the Blazers that end up at 8. So it's either going to be the Grizzlies, the Spurs, or the Suns that play this team, which we're calling the Blazers because they're in the prime position at the moment. They play them 3 games. Well, they might play them 3 games. If they can win 2 in a row, Blazers are out, Suns would be in, or Grizzlies would be in, or Spurs would be in. But it's a hell of a playoffs. All those positions get decided tomorrow in the NBA, so make sure you give it a watch.
And guess what? They get to play the Lakers and lose the first round anyway.
Who
so
cares? We haven't, man, it's been so long since we made the playoffs. I'd rather just lose a playoff game than not make the playoffs, you know? It just feels that way.
At least you're there. I know that feeling with Orlando.
Yeah.
They're there, mate. They're there.
You guys are there.
I know. Yeah, we're going to play the Raptors. So
well, I'll leave you with this final message coming in from Dean. I can't read your last name. Dean Gutbullet. Gutbullet? Gutbullet. Gutbullet?
Gubile?
Yeah, Gubile? I don't know.
Gubile?
Deja vu. Back in lockdown.
Yeah.
Mental space, guys. Let's keep it together. Thank you all for watching.
Turn to an alcoholic again.
Ka kite anō. We'll see you again next Thursday. Flame
on.
on.